Now, more than ever, we need to focus on stories of strength, courage, and unity. Welcome to COVID Talks, a series dedicated to promoting positive conversations during uncertain times.
Good evening and happy Monday. Welcome to COVID Talks, positive conversations during uncertain times. My name is Anthony Rapp of PR Cision. I'll be your host tonight. We got a great show tonight. We have a friend of mine, a lawyer, Rosamaria DeFrancisco from the law offices of Costello and DeFrancisco. She's going to be talking about what we should be doing now to plan for the future. It's unfortunate that it takes circumstances like what we're facing now to think about and evaluate and make sure you have everything lined up in your life. But right now, we have the time, and it's a great time to focus and think about things that need to be done from a legal standpoint right now that can protect your future tomorrow and thereafter when the world is opened up and ready to work again. So for those of you watching us live, thank you. I appreciate it greatly. If you could do me a favor, go to the bottom of the page, click that little share button and share this link. If you're listening to us via podcast, thank you for downloading it. We greatly appreciate it. So we're going to get right into our headlines of the day. So our first headline, good news, Fox News host Sean Hannity. Some love him, some hate him, but he went above and beyond to try and help our first responders. He went ahead and purchased 500 Yankees tickets that he's going to be distributing to medical workers and personnel who are on the front line. So Sean, we thank you, we commend you, and we are proud to have you as one of our positive news headlines of the day. Next up, we have positive news of a woman named Edwina Kane. 38-year-old Edwina Kane of Mariners Harbor was recently released from Richmond University Medical Center on April 10th after testing positive for COVID-19. While she was in there, she made a pledge to all the workers and the caretakers, the nurses, the doctors, etc. And she said, as soon as I get strong, I'm coming back to the hospital to say thank you. And so what did she do? She catered a meal for 300 some odd people at the Richmond University Medical Center unit to thank all the people that took care of her. So Edwina, we're happy that you're well. And thank you for doing such a nice gesture and sending such a nice gesture to those working on the front lines. And last good news headline of the day. So right now, as we know, we're heading into graduation season. It's uncertain what's going to be happening with graduations, but one high school here on Staten Island, Catholic High School, St. Joseph by the Sea High School, created a campaign called We Love Our Seniors. And Saturday afternoon, a group of faculty and volunteers, along with Principal Father Riley, banded together and they distributed 270 lawn signs to all of the seniors in the graduating class of 2020. So just a nice gesture for the kids who are home. They're still learning from home, but again, just something to let the kids know that they're thinking about them and that even though graduation isn't going to happen in June, it's postponed and it will take place at some point in the near future. Interested in being a guest with us? Simply send us an email, info@prcision.com. We'd love to have you. Or if you'd like a specific topic spoken about, shoot us an email and we'll try and fit that topic into our schedule. And the last PSA before we get into our interview is stay in touch with us. Follow us on Facebook at COVID Talk. Check out our website, covid-talks.com. On the website, you'll see past episodes as well as future guests. We invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel at COVID Talks and check us out on iTunes or Spotify via podcast. All right, and we're back. So right now, as we mentioned earlier, what I'd like to do is we're going to give you a little bit about our guest. We're happy to have her with us, Rosamaria DeFrancisco. She and I actually are graduates from St. Joseph by the Sea High School. We graduated the same year, so it's nice to have her with us. She has obviously since then went on to become a lawyer, has her own practice. And she and I were talking offline, and actually I had asked her to be a guest because a lot of the stuff that she deals with on a day-to-day basis is stuff that people don't want to think about because it's minutia, right? It's legal, it's paperwork. But the reality is that right now her offices are dealing with some stuff that are affecting people both positively and negatively, because if things were set up correctly, there should be no issue. But unfortunately, it takes certain circumstances like dealing with the virus or dealing with a loved one who is sick or fallen ill because of the virus, that then you take the steps to do the proper paperwork and proper legal actions that are necessary for your future. So Ro is here. She's going to talk to us about what you can do right now that will set up your future. She's going to talk about some free consultations that she's going to be giving exclusively to viewers and listeners of COVID Talks. We'll tell you how to get in touch with her. And right now, we're going to bring her up from the green room. What's up, bro? Are you there?
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Cool. Good. It worked. So first and foremost, again, thank you for being with us. I appreciate it. It's great. It's great seeing you again. I know we were talking in the green room, and it's been, 15 years since I've seen you?
It's been a long time. It feels like a million years ago together.
But it's great. Up to big things. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of the conversation, just tell our viewers and listeners, tell us about your background, your history, where you grew up. Just give us a sense of you.
Sure. And first of all, thank you for having me, Anthony. I appreciate the invitation. And, well done, and keep up the great work on all the good work that you do. The Business Improvement District, the Mount Loretto. I know that's a nonprofit with the BID. You're doing a great job. I like this
research. Look at you.
Yeah, no, I listen. I keep tabs on my friends, right? So, and also the segments have been great. The real estate segment was great. The cyber, and that market, and also Ernie Anastas, like I mentioned, I love that segment. And the Purse for a Nurse, that's a great charity, and that's wonderful. So keep up the good work, Anthony.
Well, thank you.
Far as my background is, my parents are immigrants from Italy. I was born in Queens, grew up on Staten Island, like you said, went to St. Joseph by the Sea High School. Up at Catholic school, yes. And, I became an attorney, and, it's served me well. And it's allowed me to share, some information with people, and try and get people to think about things that, they wouldn't otherwise think about.
So give me a career scope. So you and I were talking before, and you said you became a lawyer while going to school at night. God bless you. So give me a little bit of the law career and how you got involved and why you selected law as a career.
Yeah. And so, having my parents who are immigrants, I have that hard work and determination ingrained in me, right? In school, I was more into the subject areas of English and history and research and writing. So I was definitely not a science and math person, as you know. And then it kind of came full circle for me, because I went to law school at night while being a paralegal. So, it's a big financial undertaking. You want to make sure it's something you really want. And it was. And then it came full circle for me, because my parents, they made so many sacrifices for my siblings and me to have, this great American dream. And now I'm in a position to help protect what they did and all their sacrifices. And I'm in a position to help protect it for my clients. They work so hard to, pay that mortgage off and have a nest egg. And, in New York City, things cost a lot. So you want to make sure that it gets protected the right way,
So before we get into more like pointed questions, the generic question, and I ask all the guests, so offices are closed, obviously, but you still have, I'm sure, a full caseload. How are you interacting with your clients while keeping yourself and your staff safe? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Despite the state of emergency that the coronavirus caused, my partner and I remain absolutely committed to protecting our clients' rights and advancing their legal needs, while simultaneously protecting their health, right? That's everybody's big concern.
Yeah.
So people now, they can implement their legal plan and sign legal documents without ever leaving the safety of their home, completely by video. And so Governor Cuomo signed 2 great executive orders as to that effect. The first one on March 20th. And the second one was about a week and a half later. And so we are still helping people, and, it's actually very busy, and we've adapted. The legal industry has had to adapt.
So tell me more about the technology. So what can I do virtually now that Governor Cuomo signed, and how does it work?
Yeah, so before you had to, you couldn't notarize unless you did it in person. Now, as long as you do it video in real time, you can do it. The courts now have even started Skype. So you can have court conferences by Skype, and, you can use any video. You could use the video platform to really witness a will now. You couldn't do that before. It had to be in person. You could witness power of attorney by video now, and you couldn't do that before, which, it's unfortunate that a situation like this had to implement that change. But at the same time, it's good for the profession because it's kind of advanced us to the direction that we should be going in.
No, that's really cool. And it seems like that's a really good example of something that's going to be a staple in the legal industry going forward. Because if it's working right now and it's acceptable, it may change the way in which you guys are doing business for the positive, for the better. So what are some
Agreed,
of the important, what are some of the important things that you're finding now that unfortunately during tragedy, people are realizing, oh my God, I didn't do this with my wife, or, oh my God, I forgot my mom is sick and I didn't realize that I needed a power of attorney? Or what are some of these things that you deal with every day that if people think about it right now and they're in a good circumstance, they don't have to worry about it in the future?
Right. And when someone is faced with a health emergency or personal catastrophe, the absolute last thing that person wants or needs is to jump through legal hoops, right? Or find themselves in that helpless position. What do I do? Who do I call? And by, legal hoops, I'm referring to what kind of lawyer do I need? No, not knowing who could help me, to navigating the court system, and don't get me wrong. While I'm also a litigator and I fight zealously for my clients in court, but it should be the last resort in these types of circumstances. Right. And, you may think that's counterintuitive, right? I'm an attorney, but it's the most cost efficient and time efficient path for my clients to have a plan, a basic plan, but a good plan to avoid any headache or catastrophe.
And what are some of these products or services that someone like myself, because I'll admit, I have a 3-month-old son. I'm very blessed, but I'm sure that there are tons of paperwork that I did not do yet that I am negligent in. So what are some of the basic, what should I have in my legal toolbox to be prepared? What are some of the basics that everyone should have under all circumstances?
Right. So we need a plan for while we're here on Earth, okay, which is the Healthcare Proxy and the power of attorney. And then we need the plan for when we leave this Earth, which is the will. And then as we get older, it's a trust to protect our homes and assets, okay? So the Healthcare Proxy, of course, we need somebody to be in charge of our decisions if we can't make medical decisions and we lack that capacity. So yes, you have your order, maybe it's your wife first, and then your brother, sister second, whomever, your parents second. You want to have an order. 9 out of 10 healthcare proxies that I see are fine, okay? The power of attorney, 9 out of 10 powers of attorney that I review are not fine. They're deficient. So, and that is the most important document to have while we're alive, because it helps us with legal decisions and financial decisions. I don't care how long you and your wife are married, your spouse has no legal right to sign your name or to call your financial institution to find out, what your options are, unless you give them that power. So, some people tell me, oh yeah, I have a power street. Well, you have it only specific to that institution and that place. You need a comprehensive one to handle a variety of situations, and if it's a flexible tool that if it's drafted correctly, it keeps you out of court and it keeps you out of a nightmare situation.
And how easy is this to set up? Because I don't have that. I know for a fact I don't have power of attorney. I don't have the healthcare proxy. What is this? What does it entail? What's the process look like?
So the process is that we have a consultation over the phone. We talk for about a half hour to an hour, whatever your questions are. And we have a real at no charge, of course. And we talk about what your concerns are and whether, it's right for you. Generally, if you have somebody you can trust, it's right for you in the sense of, your power of attorney. It does allow somebody, powers that are broad. However, that person can never sign your will. That person can never transfer the power to somebody else. Only you get to pick who you want to be in charge. But the alternative, if you don't have a power of attorney, is what's called in New York a guardianship proceeding. Okay, it's Article 81 under the mental health law. And though that's a proceeding that you don't want to find yourself in. If you have a good power of attorney, you will never have to enter the courtroom for that proceeding. 2 cases, just to give you for instance, we've had 2 recent cases where one is spouse calls us, the husband did not have a power of attorney. Unfortunately, the husband contracted the coronavirus.
Okay.
He was a healthy guy, no pre-existing conditions, and deteriorated quickly, on a ventilator for a few weeks. And she didn't have a power of attorney to basically make a retirement election and choice that would preserve the financial stability of herself and her 3 kids that lived in the house, So then the first question is, she calls, do you have a power of attorney? No. And it stings because it's unnecessary. You have a power of attorney, you don't have to go to court. And just another quick example was a woman who is
Oh, Ro, are you there?
Are you there?
There you go. You're back. We lost you for a second. I don't know. Are you still there? Are you there? I could see you. So, Ro, why don't you do this? Log out and log back in if you could hear me, and we'll bring you right back up. X out and come right back in. And while you're dealing with the difficulty, wait, I see you. Are you good? Can you hear me? Log out and log right back in. It only took, today is our 17th episode. It only took 17 episodes for there to be a glitch, and it's okay. We're fine with it. So, Ro, if you can hear me, just log out of the system and log back in, and we'll get you back up. And in the meantime, we're going to scroll over here, and we are going to introduce tonight's COVID Talks Hero of the Day. So, tonight's COVID Talks Hero of the Day is a woman named Giovanna Puleo, Staten Islander, an 82-year-old grandmother. And once she heard what was going on with the coronavirus, she thought of many, many ways to get involved. But again, at her age, she wasn't sure what she could do. She was concerned for the safety of herself as well as her loved ones. So what this 82-year-old grandmother did was go at home, rip up fabric, and make over 200 masks for her family, herself, and her first responders. So we thank you, Giovanna, 82 years old, having a positive impact while staying safe, creating masks, giving them to friends, family, and first responders. So thank you for being today's COVID Hero of the Day. And I think, if luck would have it, that we got Ro back. I hope so. Do I got you? Are you there? Ro? I see you, but can you see or hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good. So you're in.
I'm in.
Good. So let's pick up right where you left off. And don't worry about technical difficulties. It happens, right? So you were talking about the importance of the power of attorney and how you see sometimes that they're done incorrectly, and how by having one that's more comprehensive and done more completely, that it saves time, saves money, and gives people access. So what and how would one go about getting the power of attorney?
I'm sorry, Anthony, I cut out a little bit, but so again, we have a conversation and a consultation, and we talk about it either on the telephone or by video, and we talk about all your concerns and who's in your family, or who do you trust, who are your people that you rely upon or that you can appoint that will help you if you need help, right? And ultimately, I think we all come to a position in life where we will need help at some point. And so, just circling back to that power of attorney, I don't know if you heard me with the example with the daughter didn't have one for her mother or not.
Yes,
where,
that's where we lost you. So go back to that.
Yeah, so daughter is only child and mom is not married and they have a great relationship, and daughter does not have a power of attorney for the mom, or the mom didn't give one to the daughter. And mom has some minor pre-existing conditions, nothing major, nothing crazy. And she winds up going to the hospital. Same thing, deteriorates quickly and unexpectedly, medically frozen. She can't pay the mom's, mortgage, the bills for the house. There's
Right.
a lot of carrying charges with homes and houses, as we all know. And so, the first question when you get that call, they say, I need a guardianship. And then the first question is, do you have a power of attorney? And again, they say no. And it stings because it's unnecessary. Guardianships are expensive. You have, legal fees. You have the judge appoints 2 additional attorneys, or sometimes it's a nurse, or it's called a court evaluator. Another one is a court appointed attorney. And so, it's invasive because you also have to file an annual account every year. Again, all that could be avoided if you have a comprehensive power of attorney. Very basic things to do. In terms of, it's just unnecessary, and it's not efficient for time and expense.
The problem is, unfortunately, right, and I'm sure even though you're a lawyer, you'll admit this, most people don't think about this until it's too late or it's necessary, right? So right now we're trying to get people to watch and listen and get stuff going. So you mentioned something to me about healthcare, and specifically with elderly parents and nursing homes. So can you go into detail about that? Tell me almost what you told me earlier about the importance of having the proper paperwork and legal documentation in place, because if and when, or God forbid, a circumstance arises where mom, dad, a loved one has to go into permanent medical care, what's the best way to prepare for that, and what are the ramifications if you don't?
Right. And then I also want to circle back around to picking on you, because we never got to you and your minor child that you have.
Oh.
So as far as the, when we're middle-aged or senior, right? A lot of people come into my office and they say, hi, I want to put my child on my deed, right? And then we talk about it, and that's not a good. So you don't just want to put somebody's name on your deed because it back. Okay. So one of the things that would also could happen is you could lose your property tax exemption. So, a lot of people have their STAR, their senior exemption, their enhanced STAR, their veterans, their disability exemption. You could lose that if you just put somebody else's name on your deed, right? Also, for liability purposes, you put your kid's name on your deed. Guess what? That kid gets into a car accident and injures a lot of people, or one person very severely. Guess which lien that they're going to put on whose house? They're going to come after your house, right? And then now it's your kid's house because it's not yours anymore, right?
That's crazy.
So, and then the other scenario we see is divorce, right? You put your kid's name on the deed, and then your daughter-in-law, your son-in-law divorces, right? And then guess who's a partner on your house? Your daughter-in-law or your son-in-law. They're fully own your house, or they partially own your house. So it's just a nightmare of scenarios that happens. Another thing is for taxes. If you go and you sell your primary residence, we each get $250 exclusion, right? So that's $250. If you're married, it's times 2, $500,000 goes out tax-free. We won't get into the nitty-gritty where it's plus your cost basis that you paid for the house and the capital improvements. If you put your kid's name on the deed for capital gains taxes, you could be hit with a big tax penalty. I don't think that's what you intend to do when you wanted to put your kid's name on your deed, right? So the best vehicle to accomplish your goal. Right. The best vehicle to accomplish your goal is really a trust, right? And depending on what your goals are, the one that I'm thinking for that protects the asset in your home, that allows you to, in the eyes of the IRS and the New York State Taxation Department of Finance, that allows you to be the owner in their eyes, while also giving you the protection that you need as we age, right? And that's, a lot of people think, oh, I have Medicare, I'm good, right? No, Medicare does not cover long-term care. Medicare does not cover a home attendant in your house for an extended period of time. If you go to a nursing home, Medicare covers typically approximately the first 100 days, and then you're on your own. So, you want to make sure that you do it the right way, where, you still have flexibility, but at the same time, you have the protection. And then the good thing about the trust too, is then when your kids go to sell it 100 years from now, when you're gone, they can do it with a death certificate, and coming full circle to before, they get to avoid court. And we want to try and stay out of the court system where we can, and do what we can do for ourselves, right? I'll fight for you tooth and nail in court, but if we can solve things among ourselves and between each other, then that's really the preferred route to take.
So the lawyer that is adamant about not going to court, I love that. There's better ways to do it. Paperwork, even though it may be arduous and a pain, if your paperwork is set up correctly and done with the proper consultant, it's gonna pay itself 10, 20 times over, right? I mean, just being prepared, having the documentation. And we were talking about the digital stuff before we got a little technical difficulty, but in addition to the notary, wasn't there something else we were talking about regarding what can be done via video or via Skype that previously wasn't allowed to be done legally?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, and you kind of cut out a little bit there, but before we had to do everything in person. So you came in to do your healthcare proxy, you came in to do your power of attorney. You couldn't notarize without it being in person, right? Now with the governor's executive order, what we do is we talk about it on the phone, maybe not once, maybe we talk about it twice. We get you a draft, you review the draft either by email or we mail it to you, whatever you want. We talk about it, we make sure it's what you want, and then we schedule a video signing when you're ready. And again, you can do it in your living room. You don't have to leave your house, and you don't have to deal with the public, which is good because the clients are protected. The staff is protected, and we're navigating this quarantine world that we're living in, but we're doing it smartly and we're doing it safely.
So life will go on, and you guys are adapting and changing, and it's great stuff. What are the packages, the exclusive COVID Talks packages? I know you're going to be giving away some consultations. Talk to me about that, and what are the products and what are the services that you're going to be offering to our listeners and viewers? Absolutely. So we're going to be offering, you can call us by video and telephone. We will spend as much time with you as you need on the phone to answer your questions and give you your options, right? It also depends on their family dynamic. So it's not a cookie cutter solution for everyone. We want to make sure that the plan is tailored to you, right? And we want to talk to you about who are the people in your life that you can trust and you can rely upon, okay? Because that's important. We also don't want to just give a power of attorney to anybody, right? We have to have a real conversation. Yeah. Who is this person? Right? We are going to review your legal documents at no charge. Whatever questions are on your mind, we'll review them for you. No problem. You email them to us, you mail them to us. And then finally, and most importantly, in appreciation for all of the essential workers, we owe them a debt of gratitude. And the power of attorney is something that's so important, and my firm believes so importantly in, is that we are offering a complimentary power of attorney to all essential workers who are dealing with the public. The first 500 is the volume that awesome. We can handle with our caseload. So please call us. Yeah, please call us. It's so important to have. And then, circling back to you, Anthony, I did just want to touch upon the will, because a lot of people have minor kids. And, when you have a child, that you have to do a will, because who is in charge of that kid? Where does that kid go if something happens to you, right? Your child goes with your wife, obviously, right? But what if something, God forbid, happens to the both of you, right? Where does that child go?
who is their guardian? It's a different kind of guardian than what we were talking about before with that power of attorney guardian. It's a different kind of guardian, but who gets that child? Who shelters that child, right? And then, some people also say, oh, well, the godparents, right? Well, guess what? Godparents have no legal rights unless you give it to them, right?
In the Italian culture, we have all the rights, but in legal, we have nothing, right? Nothing.
Yeah, and who's the backup, right? And, the other thing is who is in charge of their money, right? That's the trustee. Oftentimes, it's the same person, right? But a lot of times, it can be different, right? For example, if you have, let's say you have a brother who, they would take really good care of, but then let's say you have a sister, and it could be anybody. You have a sister who is a financial advisor at a big brokerage institution, that really has better business acumen and knows business affairs better. Maybe that's the person that really is in charge of the money and will grow it, or whatever. Now, the other thing is you have to think about at what age do you want your child to get anything, right? I have a 4-year-old daughter. So I don't, in New York, unless you designate an age, the age is 18, but I don't want my daughter. Yeah, what are they going to do with that? They're going to, blow it in Las Vegas on spring break, or they're going to spend it on a car that they don't need. Let the trustee make that decision where they can, use their discretion. Of course, the trustee will give them money for tuition and books and a car to get them to college, but they, a better car, they can, use it on something else. So we want to be smart and we want to have a basic plan, but a good plan so that things happen the way we want them to. And then we're not scrambling, or our loved ones are scrambling after the fact going, oh my God, what do I do?
So free advice to everyone watching and listening. All they got to do is email you or call you. A free preparation of documents for first responders for the first 500 responders, correct? That's great stuff.
Not only first responders, essential workers that deal with the public. So it's it's a little broader than that because for instance, like my mom works at a bank, so great woman. Thank you. I love her too. She's phenomenal. I owe her everything in my life. But people are putting themselves out there. People work at Costco and they're stocking shelves, and there's a lot of people out there. So I mean, of course, the doctors and nurses who are on the front lines and the first responders with those COVID actual patients. However, essential workers who deal directly with the public, we all owe you a debt of gratitude.
I agree. So I didn't even ask. I was going to say right now, we're going to open up the comment section, but our good friend Vinny Bonomi has a really good question that we're going to put up on the screen. So Vinny, first, yes, she did come back on. Thank goodness the technical difficulties were solved. But Ro, his question is, do you need to renew power of attorney in Healthcare Proxy? Is that something that's renewable?
That's a great question. So unless there's a change in the law, then no. For instance, with the power of attorney in New York, the last time that they updated the format and the form was in 2010. Okay. They added what was called a statutory gift rider. So you don't have to update it necessarily, but it's a good idea maybe every few years to, have a consultation and say, hey, can you just take a peek at my stuff? Do I need to update anything? It doesn't really take a whole lot, So that's a really good question.
So let's see. Now, Vinny had a really good question, and then he had this one. He'll be my power of attorney and my healthcare proxy. Thanks, Vin. I appreciate it. We love you. So shout out to Tom Bannis, who's watching. Thank you. We appreciate it. Shout out to my wife. I love you. Thank you for watching. Who else we got on here? My sister. We have Mas. Where's Big Massimo Dodana? He's in the room. Thank you so much for watching.
Partisan Sound.
Partisan Sound all day. Vito Canena, our biggest supporter. Vito, we love you. You're the best. So Ro, I'm just scrolling through. I'm trying to see if we have anything else because, again, that was a great question. Oh, hold on. Let's see. So my sister, Mary Rapp, last night, I got to tell you, Ro, she had the best question on Friday night because the whole segment that we were discussing, we were supposed to talk about graduation and virtual videos. The only thing I didn't talk about was graduation and virtual videos, and my sister didn't know that, but she asked the question. So thank God she did that. But yeah, let's see. So here,
And listen, Vinny, if you have one, send it to me and I'll take a look at it for you. You know, it'd be my pleasure.
My sister has the question, the association, ask her family association. So I don't really know what that means, but a family association, what is that? That's a legal document?
Ask her I don't know what I don't know. I think the question is incomplete. I don't know to what she's referring at.
All right. Well, we tried. Sorry, man.
Tried, Mary.
Sorry, man. If you want, send her an email. Send Ro an email, and she'll get back to you. Again,
absolutely.
She'll take care of it. So we're scrolling the comments. All right. So I'm going to let the comment bar run. But Ro, let me ask you a question that's kind of general. But do you have any positive things that have come out of the negative? So this is all about positivity. So any stories, anything that's come through, whether it be personal, whether it be legal, whether it be career related, something positive, right? Because we're all grasping at straws here. Let's face it. We're all hoping to get out. We're all waiting for something to happen. But do you have anything you could identify as being a positive in the midst of the chaos?
So in terms from a legal perspective or just generally?
Either one. I'll take one from each if you have one.
So, I mean, the nurse, the purse for the nurse, that was wonderful, right? And I really, that hit me on your show and I liked it, right? They're raising money for these medical workers who are really putting themselves out on the line there, right? And that's wonderful. And there was another one that I read about with this, it was a nurse that volunteered here in New York, and she had a patient, her contract expired, and that is unbelievable. You don't even live here and you're coming to help. Right. No, what that says about your character is wow. Yeah. And then she said right before the contract expired, her last day, her second to last day, the patient who had been out on a ventilator the whole time basically came to and was telling her that she heard the nurse speaking to her in her ear. And this nurse felt that it was her purpose to come to New York because she saved that person's life. So, you know, that it's wonderful, right? It gives you chills. And just from a legal perspective, you know, just the other day, we got that judge and we had that order with regard to that case where the judge signed the order giving my client the relief that we wanted. Right. Which, you know, when you're in that situation, you don't know if it's coming, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. So we were able to get her a really good result, thankfully, in the end.
That's great. So now, as we're speaking, I guess because the comments take a little to get through the program. Sure. So if I'm looking at Facebook, I could probably see them quicker. But unfortunately, I'm looking through the program. So we have two questions I'm going to throw at you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And one is from my favorite, Mr. Tom Bannis. Shout out to Tom Bannis. He has his live broadcast tonight at 10 p.m. So we encourage you to watch him. So Tom's question is, can someone write out a will and can it be enforced if they are in the hospital and in serious condition? So I guess can an individual do anything if they're under doctor's care or in a circumstance that could be deemed, you know, notwithstanding their intelligence, I guess?
Good question. So in New York, you need two witnesses to witness your signature when you sign a will. Okay. They don't have to be attorneys. However, it's always best to have an attorney supervise the execution if you can, because there's a presumption that the statutory formalities were followed. Even though, you know, you don't need two people to witness being your signature to a will, you want to make sure that it's done the right way. So if you have two people, you know, if you're in a pinch and right. That's all you can do, then do it. But, you know, we want to make sure that we have witnesses that we could call upon them to testify in court and tell us and explain to us how the will was signed and whether the exact statutory formalities were met.
Got it. Thank you, Tom Bannis. Very good question. And the last one, Ro, and then I'll let you go, because we actually have some intelligent questions, which is shocking to me. I'm in awe that there are people asking good questions. So this is from Todd Bavona, former guest, and Gotham Trinity Productions. Great guy doing great work with video. So Todd says, my father received a request to put his stamp signature on some important legal documents, but concerns for the in-person aspect. Does that make sense? So could this become a digital process?
So when he says his stamp is what does that mean? Is that his father a notary? I don't understand what that means. But, you know, you can notarize digitally if that's what he's asking. But the in-person, I'd have to look at the document. He's welcome to call me or send me the document, and I'd be happy to go into it further.
Perfect. So let me just, in the comment section, by the way, for everyone watching, in the comment section, we put Rose's email and her direct office line. So we encourage you to contact her. We're going to put it back up here as well so that you can reach out to her again for the exclusive free consultations, only available to COVID Talks watchers and listeners, of course. And with that, Ro, I will, first of all, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I want you to hang out for a couple of minutes. I'm going to put you down in the green room, and I'll come back and we'll talk a little bit.
Yeah, just everyone, really nice talking to you. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. It's rose@dcrdlawfirm.com or 347-389-4326. And again, I'd be happy to talk to any of Anthony's listeners or family members or Kanena and
Vito Kanena, the best.
Thanks so much, Anthony. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'll be back in like 2 seconds. All right.
Sure.
All right. So once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. We had a great guest scheduled for tomorrow night, but unfortunately, due to the higher ups of the institution he represents, his legal team and public relations team said he wasn't allowed to participate. That's fine. We will update you all via social media tomorrow in the morning with tomorrow's guest. We encourage you to tune in because it's going to be great. And in the meantime, once again, we thank you for watching. I thank you for listening. This has been COVID Talks, positive conversations during uncertain times. We'll see you tomorrow.